I'm Mike Rawlinson. I'm Design Director, Founding Director of City ID. We're a Bristol-based company. We've been here now for 15 years. Before that, I was working in the city for Bristol City Council, and in between I was working in London, but was drawn back to Bristol for a number of reasons: quality of life, family situation, but also the compelling ideas that I had around work and working in Bristol on the Bristol Legible City project. It is a great project. It's one that really is about humanising the experience of the city by providing a range of products and services to enable people to understand and experience the city. So that includes everything from information, wayfinding systems, maps, guides, but also fundamentally setting a blueprint for the way the city's connected and stitched together through its public realm. So it set the blueprint for things like connecting the regeneration areas of Broadmead, Temple, Harbourside, looking at spaces like the Centre, Queen's Square, those established spaces now in many ways which have become the rooms of the city, the front rooms of the city where people go out to express themselves and play. Ideas within Bristol Legible City informed planning for the Olympic Games in London, have been used by Transport for London, and now New York Department for Transport, for instance, improving walkability of New York, and similarly Moscow. So global cities have looked to Bristol. I think behind that is designing a range of products and services, generally wayfinding information systems, and things like the first citywide wayfinding system was developed here in Bristol, and that was a global first. Within that, things like designing information maps and diagrams that are designed expressly for walking, again, a global first, happened here. A third aspect of that was things like heads-up or forward-facing maps that you actually look at and read, and they're orientated to reflect the view in front of you. Again, it predates Google, predates sat navigation systems, but it all happened here in Bristol. So I think all those things about designing sensitively for users are a very important facet of our work, and I think that's reflected in the fact that projects that we've worked on are still live and ongoing. A big issue, I think, for people in cities, and this isn't just about Bristol, it's about cities all over, is they actually don't understand how cities are stitched together, what possibilities there are, what networks there are that you can explore and use. We don't have very legible networks for our transport systems, and there's very little information on street, for instance, to guide you through the bus systems. Now, coming back to cycling, Bristol has this incredible system of greenways, parks, cycle routes, pathways that are actually in many senses physically being joined up and connected. The fact that you can ride out of the centre of Bristol to any number of amazing parks and areas and longer distance routes. It's the cradle of the National Cycle Network. But not just that, the greenways, the parks are incredible. But most people don't know actually how physically to do it unless you are taught or learned how to do it, or you follow somebody. There isn't the information on street to guide you in that experience. So we're looking at, yes, new print and mobile applications, but hopefully a wayfinding system on street to guide cyclists, to promote active travel, to promote the use of Bristol's parks and greenways. Technology is behind most of our projects. The issue for me is we still have to be inclusive in the way we design. We can't just design for one medium or one channel. So I think it's really important to actually have a balanced strategy where, if you are managing systems in a technological way, it does mean you can also use analogue products and services. One of the most successful products that we've developed for Bristol is the Visit Map. It's had millions and millions of print run, in terms of print numbers. It's still used, it works, it's a good ergonomic scale for people to use, as are signs and information on street. So they have their role and will continue to have their role almost as a bedrock or a skeleton structure to which you can follow. But obviously mobile technology can augment that experience. But I think the singular biggest challenge is actually how technology is purposed and information is purposed in a way that actually locally relevant. So when you're in Bristol, it would be lovely to have a digital domain that reflects the place, reflects the characteristics, rather than just the ubiquity of many search engines and generic platforms. And that's the challenge. Can we use the Legible City resources, the visual identity, its mapping systems, its graphic language, all those things, and actually create very useful, very expressive products that say, yes, it's digital, but I am in Bristol. And I think that's a huge challenge moving forward. And it's something that obviously we feel is potentially at the root of where smarter cities can go.